Exactly, like a regional qualifier. Good luck, have fun. That 1 hour delay into being a blessing in disguise, because that could have been, whoa.
Warsaken.
Way too dang. You can tell it's tournament time. Extra loud. Dial that back a bit. I had the music turned up from Bollatro during Tides Tuesday earlier in the week. Hey, that's a keeper. Keep. With Warsaken Blitz, you start with a deck of 60 cards. Ideally, you'll set up with 15 sets of 4. You can have it with sets of 3, but do not do that. I got some very bad advice when I first started playing a long time ago. Don't be like me. Learn from my mistakes. The game randomly chooses one of the 2 players to go first. And this time it chose me. Suit X Intel. Very straightforward with Warsaken Blitz. There are 6 categories the cards in your deck will have. You have a leader, 4 territory cards, and your arsenal of 60. You try to eliminate your opponent's territories, destroy them, and then eliminate their leader. There's a force match. This will eliminate one of my 4 territories. So I'm down to 3. I mute my television. Here at my headset here, and it outside of my headset. Happy Halloween, everybody. It's NashvilleLou Live Tournament Edition. Regional qualifier against Curated. Pair of force cards. My turn, it's a 6. All right, well, the weather match right here. Shattered ground. Weather cards allow you to get an extra turn or +3 actions. You'll almost always take the extra turn. There are select times at the end of the game when +3 actions is the better move, but extra turn. You'll have an extra roll to die with 3 actions still to go for this turn. More weather. Volcanic eruption. Pair of intel cards. Pair of weather cards. But hold off on that for just a second. I'm going to pass up the last action to end the turn. Now extra turn. 4. I'm really hoping a third one of those was going to drop in. That's not the way it worked out. You know what? If you're going to force a discard, the earlier the better. Claritarian's got 8 cards. I'm going to do that with Suit X. I was waiting too long in this. I think I'll regret it. Enemy discard 3. So once my turn is over, Claritarian's got to discard 3 of those 8 in his hand. I got 3 actions still to go for the turn. Pair of force cards. Sergeant Taven Reed. Soldier. Heavy. Pair of force cards. Pair of weather cards. You've got 4 spots in your war zone. I'm going to pass up the last action in the turn. Now Claritarian has to discard 3 of those 8 cards in hand. And I love you can look in your opponent's deck in Warsaken Blitz. And their deck. Yeah, their discard pile, I should say. Not their deck, but you can see what gets discarded in what order. Here to Big Brother getting voted out. John Ryder, head of household, didn't like him. Nameless Soldier, so force and force. A lot of force in that deck. Looks of it. And about a lot of force, Falcon. Roll of 1. Speaking of force, that's going to get me down to 2 territories remaining. I could be out of this tournament very quickly. You've got best of 1 at single elimination. Way it goes. My turn. 2. Nothing makes a match. Intel Renewal Program. That's it for the turn. A lot to have sitting out there. Roll 3. But limited cards there for Claritarian. If you're going to do that forced discard, do it before your opponent plays the WMD match. Otherwise, it might just help them make some room in their deck. Now, there's a pair of force cards. There's that question you run into sometimes. How long do you wait for that third WMD to drop in? Have 3 of a kind. Have a match. Because a WMD eliminates 2 of your opponent's 4 territories. My turn, 6. Hoping mine would drop in as far as WMDs. That didn't happen, but I'm going to have a couple of force matches right here. Starting with Sergeant Taven Reed. Force match eliminates one of your opponent's 4 territories. Clementine Meyer. Eliminated. 5 actions to go for the turn. 2 spots open by Warzone. Pair of weather cards, pair of intel cards, but in hand. We got a force match. Private Wolfric Hoffman. Soldier. Infected. The zombie theme for Halloween. Bandcare Island. A place for a zombie. Eliminated. It's haunted. Greetings and welcome, everybody. NashvilleLou Live Tournament Edition. In this Hallowarsaken tournament. Being hosted by TheOnlineInn. I've got 2 actions to go for the turn. 2 spots open in my Warzone. Play a pair of weather cards. Tranquil Sunlight. That's it for the turn. Rule of 4. 10 cards in hand for Claritarian. Where I played that intel earlier, had that force discard. That will sometimes limit what you can do. 2 sets of 2 force. Claritarian has not played a WMD match yet, which is interesting. We saw from that force discard earlier, a lot of force cards. I mean, look at all those force cards. That's it for the turn. 1. But that 1, sometimes you get lucky. Tranquil Sunlight. This will be a weather match. I take the extra turn. Better believe it. 2. But guess what? Another weather match. Get that weather cascade a-flowing. This case with lava. Volcanic eruption. Gold. Extra turn. 1 action still to go for this turn. Just to play it. The blood foil out there. Tropical Cyclone. Just to flex with it. Extra turn. 3. Still didn't get that WMD to drop in. Man, oh man. That's not a good sign. At least I play a second Tropical Cyclone. Pair of weather cards. Pair of intel cards. 2 spots open in my Warzone with 2 actions to go for the turn. I haven't seen any intel cards from Claritarian, but that doesn't mean there aren't any in there. Can't take that for granted. Be aggressive. A1 Poseidon Carrier. Force. That's it for the turn. Roll of 6. Claritarian was due for a high roll, it felt like. 14 cards and 6 actions. A WMD match and a force match could beat me right here. Pair of WMDs. Is there a third? Pair of fours. Look at that. That is a lot staring me down. A pair of WMDs. 3 sets of 2 force. But it's my turn. A WMD match and a force match would win it for me right here. 4. Got the WMD. And I got the 4. So I play this right, I believe I'm going to get the win. Never know what's going to happen in a given game of Warsaken Blitz. EMP discharge. That WMD match eliminates my opponent's final 2 territories. I'll give my opponent a compromise later. Think of all the ones I picked, got lucky on what's out there. I picked the right one, not the intel, but the force. A1 Poseidon Carrier for the win. Good game. Good game. Happy Halloween, everybody. It's the Hallowarsaken tournament here on NashvilleLou Live. Warsaken. All right, here we go. Taking on Claritarian. a.k.a. Hypothesis, a.k.a. Crude Lewd. What a name. You don't want to be too picky with your starting 8. Or at least a pair of Weather, Force, or Intel. Generally speaking, I'll go with it. If you take a mulligan, you don't know what you're going to get. And then if you go for a second mulligan, you're stuck with whatever they give you, and your opponent gets an extra card. Keep this. And lucky me, I get to go first again. It's just luck as far as who gets to go first. 5. Nothing fair about Warsaken. Look at this, out of the gate. Could do that. I could actually wait. Hold that. And go Intel and force a discard right away with Rummage. And I had some people really wanting that, what was the black camo first wave card. Sorry, that's mine. It's a rank 4. Now, for the purposes of Blitz, they do the same as a rank 1 card would. So they look cooler. Enemy discard 3. So I'm going to force a discard for Claritarian here. I'm not going to put that out there in partial form. Instead, I'll play a pair of weather cards. Flex with these Bloodfoil Tropical Cyclones. Now Claritarian's got a discard 3. If you look, it won't, I mean, you have to actually click on it. And you can't click on it until there's actually one card in there. See what gets discarded in what order. So weather cards out. Violent Tornado. You don't need that. Nameless Soldier. Force. Falcon Force. Alright. Again, that, if you don't have any idea what your opponent's going to have early, that's one way to get some extra intel, as it were, or information. Force. That's a force match. There goes my Bloodfoil territory. I'm down to 3. My Treasury Department. Pair of force cards. My turn. 3. Again, you don't want to play something like this in partial form, especially when you get it right on your first draw of the game. Triggered Meltdown. WMD. You can play at most 1 WMD match per game, per side, in Warsaken Blitz. Clementine Meyer and Bancare Island are eliminated. That's it for the tournament. A common territory, a -3 morale common territory is the same as a -3 morale Bloodfoil for the purposes of Blitz. So new players coming in, and look, there's a pair of WMDs. One more would be a match. There's a force card. A lot of force out there, or some force out there, and then a WMD. My turn. 1. Well, nothing makes a match. I'll play a weather card. Fire in the fields. That's it for the turn. Roll of 2 for Claritarian, a.k.a. Hypothesis, a.k.a. Crude Lewd. Sounds like a name for a garbage pail kid. So, Crude Lou, but spelled L-E-W. 2 sets of 2 force and a pair of WMDs out there. It's my turn. I've got a force match. Dimitrov Tech 11 mech. But again, while it is a rank 4, it does the same thing as a rank 1 would in Blitz. Glitchy. Eliminate Port of Carmasani. This gets us down to 1 territory remaining for my opponent. That's the goal in Warsaken Blitz. You're trying to get your opponent's leader eliminated. Do that by destroying their territories, getting their arsenal, their deck down to 0 cards, or their morale, that number on the shield, down to 0. But morale is tougher to play, considerably so, in Warsaken Blitz. You'll almost always be better off with force as opposed to morale. Although there's some really cool morale cards. Fire in the fields. I try not to do that on my streams of playing morale decks because that tends to discourage opponents from having those like -6, -7 morale territories, so there's less variety. Alright, 2 sets of 2 weather. Nothing makes a match. You don't always want to use all of your actions in Warsaken Blitz. I've got 2 spots in my war zone open. Let's not fill those up. Pass up that last action in the turn. Taking on Claritarian. It's best of 3. I'm up 1-0. in this first round tournament match in this Hallowarsaken tournament. Hosted by TheOnlineInn. There's a WMD match. I will eliminate 2 of my 3 remaining territories. We'll both be down to 1. 2 more forge matches could beat me right here. I might not get another roll with 5 actions. Uh-oh. This is going to be a compromise later. This could do it. One thing I didn't take into account until just now was having the overlay information about Twitchy Tides up there, but that's going to be the wrong spot to deal with that later. I should have been better prepared. My turn. I was like thinking I was done skiing. I was thinking, my mind moves into production. No, you got a game. We're in a tournament, pal. We're not done. 4. A fire in the field. Is the thermal ash. Only 10 of these exist. But if it was a common, it would do the exact same thing here. Take that extra turn. It's got 3 actions to go for this turn. I need 2 force matches. I've got a compromise leader, so my time is running short. Or legitimate possibilities with that. But you know what? I'm going to go targeted sabotage, intel. Have that out there, so if I need to, maybe I can buy myself some time. 1 action to go for the turn. That extra turn pending. Demon Shield. Look at this. Foil Fire, Demon Shield. First wave. Extra turn. I need 2 force matches to win it. 1! Well, I can play that second Demon Shield, but that's it. That's it for the turn. Curated is 8 cards, a roll of 2. A force match could beat me right here. Will be the XTTAPAC, which is a cool looking card. That pinkish background to the light brown, tan, dirt. Look at this, I get another roll. I thought I was going to be potentially done for right there, but let's see. 5, where I need 2 matches, 2 force matches to win. I've got weather, it'll give me an extra turn. I can play 2 of the HX Odins. Extra turn. So that 4th spot, my war zone, I have 2 HX Odin force cards. The extra turn, I know I can play at least a 3rd. And I need 1 more force match if I can get it. Maybe another Tropical Cyclone. Let's see. Big one right here. Roll a 6. Okay, I got the Cyclone and the Odin to play. Let's think about this for a second. Let's play the Odin first to give my opponent a compromise leader. Force. I think I can win it here if I do this properly. If I play the Tropical Cyclone and go plus 3 actions, I was talking about this earlier, go plus 3 actions. This would be the time to do that. Because I know what I need is a force match. I just need any 3 out of here. So I'll go Tropical Cyclone, use proper sequence, plus 3 actions. Get the 6 with a rare plus 1 underneath it. Pop for that. Alright, so I'm going to play now a building match. That lets you go back into your deck to get any 3 cards you want. I just got to pick 3 of the same force cards. So 3 actions to do that, 3 to play them, and I have that plus 1 to keep as a souvenir. Hyper Defense Barrier, building. Doesn't matter which 3, just make sure they're force cards. For the Odin, 4 actions, only need 3. HX Odin for the win. What a battle. I got lucky there at the end. Very lucky. Good game. Alright, good game. I put Lou. Changed my post a good game before. So let me put... Okay, so... Blue wins 2-0. Going back to the gold deck. Here we go.
Warsaken.
Second round tournament matchup. Best of 3. I won 2-0 in round 1 against Curated, and now taking on Jungle Jim. And look at this. Keep. Not going to complain about that. That's right. I'll put the hand down. I'll keep it. 3. I really wanted to show that off. Just in case you missed it. EMP Discharge. This is a WMD match. It will eliminate 2 of my opponent's 4 territories. Had some good luck on the whole getting to go first thing. That's just luck of the draw. It will eventually even itself out. Brotherland Fields. On fire. And the Clementine Mire. Eliminated. That's it for the turn. Remember, you can play at most 1 WMD match per side in a given game of Warsaken Blitz. Second round tournament coverage live here on NashvilleLou Live. Roll of 1 for my opponent, taking on Jungle Jim. Their Funko lover. Greetings and welcome, everybody. Get a chance to properly greet everybody, but it's been a little bit of a rush to get things set up here. WMDs. Or more specifically, WMD singular. That's an interesting one. That's like if your opponent is going to use a Intel and Intel match, that'd be a minimal value just taking out 1. 5. All right. The weather, a pair of Shattered Ground cards. 3 spots open in my war zone. 3 actions to go for the turn. Renewal Program. Intel. I'm a fan of that. Gold Intel Renewal Program card. Alright. Pair of weather cards. Pair of Intel cards. 2 spots open in my war zone. I'll pass up that last action in the turn. Roll of 5. Taking on Jungle Jim. Second round tournament action here in the Hallowarsaken tournament. There's a force match that will eliminate 1 of my 4 territories. I'll be down to 3. Never give up in Warsaken Blitz, as long as you have cards in your arsenal, in your deck. I've seen some remarkable rallies happen I thought would have been next to impossible. I've had games where I thought I had it in the bag, and then it just fell apart. My opponent made a big rally to beat me. Happens. So you've got a WMD and a force, now another force. My turn. 6. Weather cards. Well, this will give me an extra turn. Volcanic eruption. Some lava. Some gold lava. Oh, you're looking for gold, huh? But hot. For the Nashville hot chicken. The Nashville gold right there. Extra turn. That lava's hot. Handle with care. Gotta sign a waiver before you're getting that. Intel, Suit X. Let's think about this. I've increasingly over time become more hesitant about filling that 3rd spot in my war zone too early. Like, what happens if next turn I roll a 2 and I've got a pair of weather cards I can put out there? I'd much rather have weather out there than double 2 on the Intel. So as much as this feels counterintuitive in some ways, this is actually proper strategy in many cases at least. Pass it the last 3 actions in the turn. Extra turn. There's that too. 3. See, what did I tell you about the 2 weathers? That's why I did it that way. I've played one or two of these games in my time. Tropical Cyclone. I can't wait until we get Game Reward XP mode. Oh, I can't wait for that. It's going to take time to get there. It's taking time, I know. But also, there's a lot of fun stuff heading down the pike. When it arrives, we're going to have a great time. Having a great time with this as it is. All right, past the last action in the turn. Roll of 1. A pullback. Now, isn't that interesting? That force card. I turn. 5. Well, building cards over here. Even better. Weather. Tranquil sunlight. Extra turn. I don't like the idea of going back for weather. If I have to, I can. Avalon Academy. Now the extra turn. 5. Well, this will work out, I think, pretty well. All right. Let's think about this. If I go back for force, I can go get one of these I'm about to play right here. The question was, whether do I go extra turn or plus 3 actions? It'd be 1 action to play it, and then I would get a plus 3. That'd have me at 7. Whereas if I go extra turn, I can still go back for it. I think I'm going to go... Well, no, I don't need any cards. It's the actions I need. If I go play 1, it drops me to 4. Plus 3 gets me to 7 actions. I can play that 3rd building card. I'll play the force in the building card to go get what I need. And that should give my opponent a compromised leader with what I need in hand for the next round. So I'm going to go plus 3 actions here. D6 plus 1. Now they got to do the right order. That opened a spot up, which is why I did it that way. Private Wolfer Kaufman, force. So eliminate a 3rd territory from my opponent. So Jungle Gym's down to 1 remaining. 4 actions to go for the turn. Play that 3rd Avalon Academy. Go back for Private Wolfer Kaufman. My opponent has not seen these cards, but this will have been seen. So let's play this again. Do it again. Private Wolfer Kaufman. Double zombie right there. Give my opponent a compromised leader. Abandoned wasteland. Happy Halloween, everybody. Roll a 6. This is a best of 3 matchup. Game 1. Force match. This will take me down to 2 territories remaining. Abdul Hafiz, the supplier, in gold. A WMD match would give me a compromised leader. This game is not over yet. There's a second. We're getting some dramatic tension right here. Second force card. 1 action to go for the turn. Finally, that night vision force card to end the turn. If I roll a 3 or higher, I win the game. 1. Luckily, I got that sitting over there. Renewal program, Intel. Bounce. WMD, Hydrosonic Blast, bounce. Coda, bounce. AS-34 Wave, bounce. That's it for the turn. Roll of 1. Taking on Jungle Gym, second round. The Hallowarsaken tournament hosted by TheOnlineInn. There's a WMD card. My turn, a 3 or higher, and I win it. 5. Use the A1 Poseidon Carrier Force for the win. That'll do it for game 1. All right, yeah. I'll use the gold deck a couple of times. Used optimized for game XP. The game reward XP comes. I'm ready. Hex Tech. Dog deck. And I saved night vision for when I really need to dig deep. Like a game 3 of 3 situation. Let's go with dog deck. Warsaken. Taking on Jungle Gym. I lead 1-0 in this best of 3 tournament matchup in this Hallowarsaken tournament. Happy Halloween, everybody. All right, so nothing here makes a pair except for the building cards. My usual rule, I need at least a pair of weather cards, intel, or force. I'm going to take a mulligan. I'm going to reshuffle my arsenal of 8 cards, of 60, I should say. Puts the 8 back in with the other 52, and it'll deal me 8 once again. That works. Keep. Only take that second mulligan if you absolutely need to. You absolutely have to. If nothing, like if that had been some other card, like a building card, okay, nothing matched. These at least have a pair, so keep it. But don't be too picky when it, because you don't know what that next one's going to be. You might not think one card would make a difference, but sometimes it makes all the difference in Warsaken Blitz. Roll a 3. For once, I don't get to go first. Only fair. You can't expect that forever. It really is random with this game as far as who gets to go first. Pair of intel cards. It's a very pleasant looking game mat. Remember, you can customize this by deck within Warsaken. The way your opponent's die looks, like you see right there, is different than mine. I got the white with my purple. Purple's my brand color, might have noticed. The school color for both my high school and college alma maters. Father Ryan High School in Nashville and the University of Evansville in Evansville, Indiana. The mascot's Ace Purple. 1. Well, play 1 weather card. Tropical Cyclone. I was looking on the secondary market. There aren't any weather cards that are blood foil available for sale. Not a single one. Roll a 4. 2 sets of 2 intel. So this could be an intel heavy deck here. At least that's the indication. That's more than just an indication. Your opponent can try and mill your arsenal down to 0 cards. Intel, I've shown off how you can force discards. I've shown off how you can bounce. That third ability. And look at that intel. I'm going to be very careful when I put up my war zone. Up against that. 5. Well, weather. Tropical Cyclone. More weather. Blinding Sandstorm. 2 sets of 2 weather. 2 spots open in my war zone. 2 actions to go for the turn. All that intel staring me down. There's no way I'm putting anything out there in that 3rd spot, my war zone, on this turn. Pass up those last 2 actions in the turn. I have so much fun with Warsaken Blitz. Roll a 6. 14 cards for Jungle Gym. It trails me 1-0 in this best of 3 second round tournament matchup. There's a pullback on an incel. Probably make room for something else. Often how it goes. Indeed. Look at that. 4 wide and 2 deep with the intel. My goodness. A lot of intel. My turn. 3. Do I have any force cards in here? It would just be, I think, very dangerous, but any force cards out there right now with that intel. I was trying to mill down my arsenal. You can get in a position where you don't have enough force card, or like if you need 2 force card matches to win the game and you run out, then you're out of luck. That's not a pleasant way to lose. Would have been great to have a WMD trio drop in, but that didn't happen. So you know what? I'm going to leave it as is. Pass the actions in the turn. Taking on Jungle Gym. This tournament match at roll 1. Is there a third intel to match one of those 4 sets of 2? Apparently not. My turn. 2. Well. And there's a certain chilling effect that intel can have. Or what your opponent puts out there. But not going to risk it. Pass the actions in the turn. A bit longer of a game here. Although things can pick up in a hurry sometimes. With Warsaken Blitz. Roll a 5. Let's see what happens here. 19 cards. 5 actions for Jungle Gym. I lead 1-0 in this best of 3 second round matchup. There's an intel match. That mills 6 cards from my arsenal to my discard pile. Another intel match, milling 6 more cards. Remember, if my arsenal hits 0, all my opponent will need is a force match to beat me. I don't like seeing building cards end up in my discard pile. You need building cards to go back to pull things from your discard pile. Like having your fishing poles at the bottom of the pond. Then what do? I'm not talking about the cove right here either. Proverbially. 17 cards, 3 actions. Intel. Sky Crane Restoration. There's a second. 3 sets of 2 intel. 1 action to go for the turn. Dramatics. Special thanks to Carl Casey at Whitebat Audio, who makes much of the great background music that I use here on NashvilleLou Live. It's Hallowarsaken tournament. My turn. 6. Okay. Play against intel. Have to have the opponent with a little bit of patience. 2 fire in the fields here. I go for that. On WMDs, we've got 2 sets of 2, so it doesn't matter if we're Devotion or Toxic. Devotion or Toxic. So I'd get that 3rd fire in the fields. 3rd. To make a 3rd WMD. One of these. Probably not the grenade. Wouldn't need rusty. Oh, I know what I'm getting. Okay. Going for you. Let's wait. Let's see. Maybe I don't go for that. Maybe I won't go for that. I want to get that building card. Although, how many of those do I have? Okay, I'm definitely going back. Hearing that. Third of those, and then a third WMD. I can't go back for that potential third force card. So I can only get 3. Alright, let's go ahead and just do the thing, right? I can do this. This. And this. 3 actions for the turn. Toxic Devastation. This WMD match will eliminate 2 of my opponent's 4 territories. Port of Carmasani. Clementine Meyer. Eliminated! That's it for the turn. My opponent rolls a 1, taking on Jungle Jim. It's a best of 3. I lead 1-0 in this second round matchup. I'm down to 23 cards in my arsenal, which is important because when that hits 0, if and when. If or when. In the event that happens, I'll have a compromised leader. It'd be like if all my territories were eliminated. Or if my morale reached 0. No play, my turn. 1. So leave it as is. Pass up the action in the turn. There we go. Thought about putting an intel out there, but decided against it. Roll 2. Taking on Jungle Jim. The second game of our best of 3. I won game 1. Here in game 2, it's an intel deck I'm up against. Under 22 cards in my arsenal. If that hits 0, I'll have a compromised leader. If your opponent's got a compromised leader, all you need is a force match to get the win. So I'll put that categories overlay there on screen. It works out pretty well, helping people understand. There's only 6 different categories that those cards in your arsenal can fit into. And a Bloodfoil Weather does the exact same thing as the common tier weather card. So it's not like it's the whales have some sort of a tactical advantage from spending or winning or buying or whatever. 18 cards and 2 actions here for my opponent. Got 5 players in for the next Twitchy Tides game. You can join with !play in chat. I didn't do a good job of my prep work in that little on-screen overlay part. No play, my turn. Five. I need to go back for Beast, huh? Okay, so I'll play 3 of those to get an extra turn. On 2 actions, I can play Force. Even if the extra turn's a 1, I can still have a 3rd Force to get the match. You know what? I messed up when I went back for Sawyer's Garage. This is a different... Maybe I switched the configuration with this deck and didn't think about it. Oh, that wasn't... Nice plan there, pal. Way to go, Pickney. Fire in the fields. Weather. Extra turn. Extra turn pending. The dog deck. So let's play Rusty. Soldier. Dog. Extra turn. 6. All right. We'll go +3. I think I get the win here. I'm thinking this correctly. I get 3 force matches. Let's think about this. Play 1 weather card here to get the extra turn or +3. If I go +3, that would give me 8 actions. I can play the 3rd Rusty. I would need 2 more force matches after that. And the DX8 and the Beast. If I do this right, I should get the win. Tropical Cyclone. +3 actions. Get to really see the rare one. 6 +2. Sick him, Rusty. Eliminates a 3rd territory. Brotherland Fields. Down to 11 cards in my arsenal, so that did get tight there at the end. Luckily, I got what I needed. Beast. Force. Give my opponent a compromise leader. Once your opponent's got that, you just need a force match to win. And enough actions to play it. 4 actions. DX8 for the win. Good game. All right, good game. All right, gold, gold, gold. And luckily that overlay works perfectly as far as keeping the code off the screen, lest there be any code sniping. Not as likely here, but it's not a problem this way. Confirmed that it is best of 3 for the finals. Earlier, I said, I got the win, thinking it was best of 1 when I took on Curated in the first round. Like, no, it's best of 3, which I prefer because it's one game you can get some really bad RNG and then you're out. Got a pretty good pace with this. Even the tournament tree got a little bit thrown off. Or getting all set up. Now here, ready to go into the tournament final. We've got Scurvy Bot giving out Nash Cash. Let's tip all 10 again.
Warsaken.
And dig every 5 minutes from the Scurvy Bot dig pool on Twitch. 100% success rate, no dig pass required. So here we go. Let's have fun. It's a Beelmuck, my opponent here. All right. Well, don't be too picky with your starting 8. I'm going to keep that. And I get to go first. The Inception die here. I think I rolled a 1 because it already gave me the card, but 1. Spoilers. Could play that. Instead, I'll play the gold Volcanic Eruption. That's it for the turn. Taking on Beelmuck, rolls a 2. My turn. 3. Check something here real fast with the stream. Make sure we're good to go with that. Okay. Roll 3. Nothing makes a match. My opponent has a weather card out there from that last turn. Volcanic Eruption. Pair of weather cards. 3 spots open in my war zone. 2 actions to go for the turn. Break up the Suit X. That's it for the turn. Rule of 6. This is the tournament final. Best of 3. I believe it's best of 3. Nothing to dispute that. It's okay. There have been blue mint tournaments in the past where that wasn't the case, and there's Intel. Intel milling 6 cards from my arsenal to my discard pile. Or if your arsenal hit 0 cards. At that point, you'll have a compromised leader. The weather card, Intel, weather, my turn. 4. Concern is when you're getting cards milled is what's going in there like that. There's not any helpful. Not particularly helpful losing that. But the worst is when building cards end up in there. Because building cards can help you out, but not if they're not there to help you. Let's see. Well, speaking of me not being helpful, nothing here makes a match. Shattered ground, weather. I'll keep that 4th spot in my war zone open, pass at the last 2 actions, and end the turn. Roll 2. Taking on Beelmuck. It's a best of 3 tournament final, game 1 right here. 12 cards, 2 actions for my opponent. Let's tip some more Nash cash out. Tip all 10. 15 users, each getting 10 Nash cash. Over 5-minute cooldowns. Got that special for this Halloween special. This Hallowarsaken tournament. The weather card out there. My turn. 2. I'll be able to play a 3rd Shattered Ground weather card and get an extra turn. I'll pass up that last action in this turn. Now the extra turn. 3. Got a 3rd volcanic eruption. With that gold lava flowing on in. Extra turn. 3 spots open in my war zone. 2 actions to go for the turn. Now, knowing I'm up against Intel, I'm very hesitant about putting force out there in particular, compared to how I might normally approach it. I'm going to pass up those 2 actions to end this turn. Extra turn number 2. 4. WMD match. EMP discharge. This will eliminate 2 of my opponents. 4 territories. Scrapyard. Mount Uptania production site. Eliminated. My opponent's down to 2 territories. I only have 29 cards left in my arsenal. Noteworthy because if that hits 0, it'll give me a compromised leader. 1 action to go for the turn. Look at this over here. I buried the lead. I got that. Because knowing that I had a Sudex that was already one of those 2 remaining ones that were in my discard pile, I was a bit concerned. Sometimes things work out. Sudex, I'm going to bounce 3 of my opponent's cards. 4 cards from that opposite side war zone with Sudex. Bounce. Control the message. Fire in the fields. Freezing rainstorm. Bounce. That's it for the turn. Roll of 4. 15 cards and 4 actions here for my opponent. Taking on Beelmuck. Here in the tournament final. Many thanks to TheOnlineInn for hosting this tournament. Allie Bear, thank you for helping to point me in the right direction when I was a bit flummoxed there. Trying to figure out where I needed to go to check in, not getting checked in properly, but they made it work out. Here we are in the tournament final. You have no idea with the tournament how long it'll go. This has worked out pretty well. I've been wanting to stream with some Warsaken for a while now. We got 2 hours in. Live with you here. All right. So, 2 standalone intels to go with a pair of weather cards. Or 1 each of the weathers out there. Roll 5. Force match. Those 2. I wouldn't be able to use building cards to go for weather, to go for any sort of extra turn. So instead we'll do it like this. A1 Poseidon Carrier Force. Abandoned Wasteland. So we'll take my opponent down to 1 territory remaining. I have 24 cards left in my arsenal. I need 2 force matches to win the game. Somewhat judicious with this. Let's play some weather. Tropical Cyclone. Or should I? Let's actually stop and think. What do I have in here? Tropical Cyclone, weather. Put those out there. That ends the turn. Don't want to overthink it. Be careful up against intel. Roll a 2. There's a second weather card there. Ideal conditions. And a second tsunami. 2 sets of 2 weather along with the standalone intel cards. It's my turn. 3. This will give my opponent a compromised leader. Private Wolfric Hoffman, of course. Vast Hinterland, eliminated. It's game 1, best of 3 tournament final. Roll a 4. I've got 21 cards in my arsenal. That were to hit 0, and this intel is going to take me down to 15. That were to hit 0 to give me a compromised leader. Intel. Second intel, but that's it for the turn. If I can get a force match here with enough actions to play it, I can get the win. 4. That's going to happen. I'm not needing those building cards after all. Better to have them and not need them than need them and not have them. That's my thought. Sergeant Taven Reed for the win. The win here and go up 1-0 in this best of 3 tournament final. Okay. All right. Use the Hex Tech deck.
Warsaken.
Here we go, taking on Beelmuck. It's the tournament final. I'm up 1-0 in this best of 3. Hallowarsaken tournament. I can work with that. Keep. If I win this game, I'll win the tournament. My opponent wins, we go to a 3rd deciding game, and I get to go first. 1. Freezing rainstorm. Roll a 4. That first game, my opponent had a very heavy intel deck, but let's see what happens here. Pair of weather cards. 2 actions to go for the turn. I'm stalking. I'm missing out on your event and make the tournament final here. Remember to peek back in over there, make sure I'm getting these guesses in, missing out. 50 wax per. Bit distracted over here. My turn. On the weather out there. 5. Four smash. Omega 32 Mac. That thing means business. Scrapyard. Eliminate. I have 3 spots open in my war zone with 2 actions to go for the turn. I'll play a second freezing rainstorm. Give me a pair of weather cards out there. 3 spots open in my war zone, but I'll leave that as is. Pass the last action in the turn. I don't know if my opponent's got an intel heavy deck, if it's forced this time. A lot of times, strategically early, players, especially get a lower roll, they might only show you weather. But other players might be a lot more aggressive, just depends. There's a pullback on the weather, which is interesting. Pair of freezing rainstorms. My turn. 3. Nothing makes a match. I pass up all 3 actions in the turn. Roll of 1 for my opponent. And you'll notice the die changes depending on whose turn it is. You can customize that with the cosmetics in this game, just like the game mats, music you can set up. Roll of 5. There's a weather match with cloud cover that will give me an extra turn with 2 actions still to go for this turn. Cloud cover. We'll get the extra turn in a moment. 2 spots open, 3 spots open in my war zone. 2 actions to go for the turn. Get more weather out there. Tropical cyclone. Extra turn. 5. Like another extra turn with a tropical cyclone. Nothing else makes a match. Tropical cyclone. Extra turn. 3 spots open in my war zone. 4 actions to go for the turn. I'll have to utilize some caution how aggressive I am with force cards being out there, because I don't know how much intel my opponent might have. Let's keep it very close to the vest as far as that goes. Play a pair of A4 Revenge Super Carriers. Ask for it by name. Pass up those last 2 actions to end the turn. Now the additional extra turn. 3. No match. No buys. Pass up the actions, end the turn. Game 2. This best of 3 tournament final. I'm up 1-0. Beelmuck rolled a 6. 18 cards, 6 actions. Only seen weather thus far. Beelmuck, 3 sets of 2 weather. So I don't know if I'm staring down some force, some intel, morale. I simply don't know. And a pair of intel cards. Finally showing at least that. My turn. 1. Got so many cards like way down yonder. Pass up the action. End the turn. Roll 2. Warsaken Blitz, NashvilleLou live. Thrilled to have you here with me. A pullback on the weather, at least one of them with the freezing rainstorms. which is interesting. And then a pullback on the intel. My turn. 5. Decisions. Goliath 65. Force. Take my opponent down to 2 territories remaining. Pass of the actions in the turn. Roll 6. 24 cards right here. 6 actions for my opponent. I'm up 1-0 in this tournament final. Best of 3. This Hallowarsaken tournament. NashvilleLou Live Tournament Edition. Ideal conditions. Weather match means an extra turn for my opponent. I'm down to 24 cards in my arsenal. Make that 18 cards in my arsenal. If that hits 0, I'll have a compromise later. That's the way Intel decks are set up. Another Intel match. Down to 12 cards. Extra turn roll of 1. Is there a third fire in the fields? There's a tsunami weather card. My turn. Only have 12 cards remaining in my arsenal. 1. CX5 viral outbreak. WMD card. Ends my turn. Roll a 2 for my opponent. Sometimes the game locks up at this point. F5. Weather match. At least got to see that. So an extra turn for my opponent. Oh my goodness, a roll of 6. I'm down to 11 cards. A pair of intel matches. There's another weather, so another extra turn for my opponent. I could be in trouble here. I mean, a W, or actually be an intel match. I'll be down to 5 cards in my arsenal. Intel match. I'll be down to 5 cards in my arsenal, my deck. Could my opponent decide to bounce? Nope, going after the arsenal. Down to 5. There's an extra turn pending. Another one. Second freezing rainstorm. Intel. Extra turn. 6! Are you kidding me? 24 cards. An intel match and a force match could beat me right here. Intel match. This will give me a compromise later. A force match can beat me. If that happens, we'll go to a third deciding game. Weather for an extra turn. I don't know if this is showmanship or if you got the goods or you had another extra turn pending. I'm about to deal with right here. Intel, you're going to go after what's out in my war zone. Which means you don't have the force match yet, probably. Otherwise, it's a highly risky move. I've got building matches. A roll of 1, finally. But that did put me in a tougher spot now. I've got to go back and fetch that third WMD, so I could be in trouble with that. That compromised leader. Better when my opponent gets a force card. It's a building card. My turn. 1. Did I even get a card? We fall off the page. Pass up the action in the turn. Force match would beat me. Force a third deciding game. Roll 2. But I know I'll get at least one more roll. There's a building match there for my opponent. My opponent plays 2 force cards that would not be enough to beat me. Building. Guess you're going back for weather. Could go for intel. That's possible as well. I have plenty of intel, but weather. My turn. 6. Where are the cards? I rolled a 6. Where are the cards? And the answer is they're all gone. So you see, this is a challenge. To go back for weather to get another extra term, that's chasing my tail. I need to go back. Let's think about this. I need to get. I may be out of luck here if I don't have a third. I can go back. Let's see. I can give my opponent a compromised leader if I do this right, I think. Play 3 actions to go back. I can get that third viral outbreak. I could then play to give my opponent a compromised leader. Let's see. Freezing rainstorms. How many of these do I have in here? If any. So I'll go 2 freezing rainstorms. And then a WMD. Do that. That's still risky. But what's not risky at this point? 21 cards for my opponents. 12 cards remaining in hand. Or in the arsenal. So I'm going to play this to go back. Let's see. So I'm going 2 weather. If I do it that way. Playing 3 of these. We'll get the. Let's make sure I'm not misthinking this. I've got the freezing rainstorm here. Go back for 2 freezing rainstorms. The WMD match to go for 1 of these here. Might as well go with the viral outbreak. I'll go viral outbreak, weather, weather. Play the weathers, roll the die, and hope we get a 5 or a 6. Would even that be enough? I'm better off hoping. Oh, this is tough. Alright, let's go ahead and do it. Interrogation facility, building. Just 1. Two of these. The problem is we're like a 2 or something, then this is all for naught. You know what? I'm going to play the WMD right here. When my opponent rolls less than a 3. That may be hoping for too much. I'll give my opponent a compromise leader. Lock this in. We'll do that. What a battle.
Compromised.
Roll a 6, so this will almost for sure do it. All my opponent needs is a force match to beat me. Unless that's proving elusive. If you had 1 force match in that deck and it's hiding 2 of them the last 6 cards, then that's it. Well, there's weather. Extra turn, so we'll see. You have 2 weather matches for me here. What a silly intel play. Maybe not so silly, I don't know. Maybe not so silly. That's a forced discard. That was a misplay by my opponent. Roll a 4. It may not matter. Unless those final 2 cards are the 2 force cards not in hand. It would take that for this not beat me. Unless my opponent didn't have force. No, there it is. Well, going to a third deciding game. All right, so we're tied at 1. Man, that was disappointing because I was right on the precipice there, but didn't get it. So we're tied at 1. We'll go to a third deciding game here in just a second. What I say when you have to dig deep with a night vision deck.
Warsaken.
Here we go. Game 3 of 3, tournament final. Taking on Beelmuck. Warsaken Blitz Tournament Edition. Or NashvilleLou Live Tournament Edition. Both. You don't want to be too picky with your starting 8. I can at least work with this. Keep. And I get to go first. A Blood Fungus game mat. This deck. Works well with the green, pretty well. But it doesn't work so well with some of these matchups here. We'll play a pair of force cards. Max Harper dealer. Pass at the last 2 actions in the turn. Roll a 5 for my opponent. Taking on Beelmuck. I was victorious in game 1. Beelmuck won game 2. So here we are in this third deciding game. Standalone Weathers. 2 actions to go. They're passed up. That's it for the turn. My turn. 2. Nice to have that, but in partial form, I don't know. EMP discharge. That's it for the turn. Roll 3 for my opponent. 13 cards. 3 actions. 1 each of those standalone weathers out there. Intel. To control the message. Intel cards. Is there a third? A pullback on one of the weathers. Open up a spot in that opposite side war zone. My turn. So I get that WMD match. I took a risk doing it that way, but it worked. Paid off. There's the third. EMP discharge. This will eliminate 2 of my opponent's 4 territories. Remember, you can play at most 1 WMD match per side in a given game of Warsaken Blitz. Game 3 of 3, tournament final of this Hallowarsaken tournament. 3 spots open in my war zone. 3 actions to go for the turn. Don't like having 2 sets of 2 force out there. The intel has been pretty steadily targeting my arsenal, but I don't want to give my opponent any ideas. One-off weathers, I don't know what would go where. So I'm going to pass at the actions in the turn. Roll of 4. Taking on Beelmuck here in this tournament final. Thanks again to TheOnlineInn for hosting this. Thanks to Warsaken for giving me those booster packs a long time ago. I take it very seriously when people give me things to give away. A pair of intel cards played and pull back on the weather. Those intel cards look very similar. The burn notice and then whatever the other one is. My turn. 2. Nothing makes a match. So this is burn notice. This is search algorithm. Reminds me of the TV monitors at in the newsroom. The desks had the orange tinted. Days before, there was 1 internet computer in that entire newsroom, and it was in the printer room. In 1997 was a different time. Had to smarten some people up there. I got to smarten up here. I got 2 actions. Nothing making a match. No, not you. Sit down. You. Freezing rainstorm. Sit down. Freezing rainstorm. That's it for the turn. Roll 3. Best of 3 tournament final. I was victorious in game 1. Beelmuck victorious in game 2. Intel heavy deck. Been that way for the first 2 games. No different here. Trying to mill my arsenal down to 0. My opponent a compromised leader. You have to be careful about how much you put out there against an Intel heavy deck. Especially if your building cards end up in your discard pile. A pullback. The brainwash. A scary looking one. Those crazy eyes staring you down. 3. Man. Not gonna happen. Not this turn. Look at those eyes. Sabotage. Indeed. Alright, well, this is not the way I would have drawn it up per se, but you know what? We got some intel over here. Satellite recon. Innovation. Pair of force cards, pair of weather cards, pair of intel cards. I'm going to leave that 4th spot, my war zone, open. Pass at the last action in the turn. Warsaken Blitz Tournament Final. NashvilleLou Live Tournament Edition. Roll of 1 for my opponent. Is there an intel match? Doesn't seem to be. My turn. 4. Max Harper finally with a hit. Got weather. I get an extra turn. Got that as well. When in doubt, play the weather first. Freezing rainstorm. Extra turn. 2 spots open in my war zone. 3 actions for the turn. Extra turn pending. Max Harper dealer. Force. Force match eliminates a 3rd territory for my opponent. Abandoned Wasteland. There'll be 1 remaining. I need to get 2 force matches to win the game and win the tournament. Only have 2 actions to go for this turn with an extra turn pending. Barracuda. C5 Barracuda. Extra turn. If I roll a 4 or higher and have an additional force match in hand, I can win it right here. 5. Well, looks like that's going to happen, won't it? I do this right. C5 Barracuda force. It's going to give my opponent a compromise later.
Compromised.
Renzo, the boss. Light a victory cigar for the win. That'll do it. I win the tournament. All right. Game. Good game. All right. We did it, chat. We won the tournament.